Hello, my name is Tasia, and I'm your host for this episode of the College and Career Readiness Podcast. Today we are joined by our special guest, Amey Powne. Before we start our interview, remember to take control of your future. Join the California Army National Guard and serve your community during local and state emergencies. You'll learn marketable skills, earn a paycheck, and get money for school. Contact Sergeant A. Kino today at 916-233-7615. Hi, Amey. Thank you for your time. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So I want to ask you a couple questions. So my first one would be, could you tell us a little bit about your nursing degree and what you do at UC Davis?
Sure. So I have both a bachelor's of nursing and science and then a master's of nursing and science. At UC Davis, currently, I am the nurse coordinator for our fetal care and treatment center.
Okay. So what was your inspiration behind this career?
So nursing in general, I always wanted to be something in the medical field. I thought that I wanted to be a doctor. And then I went to college and had my first, I think it was biology, and almost failed. So I went I went looking down other career paths and followed a really good friend of mine's mom. She worked in the NICU, and I was like, this is way better than being a doctor. You actually get to be at the bedside. You get to interact with the patients and the families. This is what I want to be. So changed my career path and went down pre-nursing and then got into nursing school and went from there.
That's pretty good. Okay, so what was your approach to obtain the position that you're out now?
So I started as a bedside nurse at a nursing school and got a lot of experience with both just physical assessment, being a nurse, getting used to the technical skills, the critical thinking, all of that. After a couple of years, I applied to go back to school to get my master's because I wanted to have opportunities beyond the bedside. At that same time, I also did a little bit of travel nursing, which was awesome. Got my master's, came back to the PICU where I was doing bedside and became their clinical nurse specialist. So I did a lot of education for the unit. And then when this position opened up, we just started this fetal care and treatment center at UC Davis. The opportunity came up to be the nurse coordinator and to help build that program. And so I thought that it would be something interesting. So I applied for it and got that position. And now I'm learning a whole another set of skills, not just nursing skills, but marketing, growing a business, kind of financial stuff too.
That's great. So what obstacles have you faced throughout your journey?
A lot of it, I guess, obstacle-wise would be getting out of your comfort zone. When I was in nursing school, I did one of my internships kind of on the oncology floor, and I was very comfortable there. I liked the patient population, the people that I worked with, but I knew I always wanted to work with kids. So it's kind of knowing that there's lots of different avenues that you can go into, but kind of going into something that you're not comfortable with. Same thing with this position. I'd been in the PICU for over 10 years, and that's what I was comfortable with. And moving over to the fetal care and treatment center are pregnant moms, which was not what I thought I would be doing at all, especially in nursing school. I was not the person that you wanted in your delivery room when I was a student nurse. But now kind of jumping into something new. So I think being uncomfortable, but being able to grow and go on to something else has been some obstacles. As for school-wise, it's just a long haul. So knowing that you have a lot of prerequisites. Nursing school, especially in California, sometimes takes a long time to getting into, and a lot of people get discouraged and kind of go on to another path. When I got into nursing school, I was on the wait list for originally, and then got called, I don't know, like 2 weeks before school started or something. And so if I would have had to wait another semester, I think it would have been a little discouraging. But I knew that I wanted to be a nurse, and so I feel like that might be some of the obstacles that people would face.
Okay, and when you were in high school, did your high school experience at all influence your decisions to pursue nursing?
I don't know if necessarily high school. My friend's mom was a nurse, and I really thought what she did was cool. They used to do follow your mom to school day, or follow your parent to whatever they do. So she went with my mom because she wanted to be a teacher, and I went with her, and I was like totally in love with it. So that helped. High school in general, we didn't have, I don't think we had like any programs or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. So are there any areas you feel you could still improve in?
Okay. Yes. Like I said, I had moved from the PICU into the Fetal Care and Treatment Center, and so I went from a place of knowing a lot about the patient population to going to a place where I knew nothing about it. So I have a lot more to learn about fetal anomalies, labor and delivery, NICU, that I didn't necessarily learn. With nursing, I think anytime that you change kind of a path, you can glean on the skills that you've had from before. So even if you start off as like a CNA and then you're in school and you get your RN or an LVN to RN type of path, you can use the skills that you've learned. If you start on a med surg floor and want to move to an ICU, you can always use those nursing skills. And I think even if you move from there to a management position, having bedside skills not only, I think, teaches you how to work with a team, which you're going to use those skills, but also reminds you of what it's like to be at the bedside.
Okay, and what is your favorite thing you could say is about your job?
Helping patients, absolutely. I would say nowadays a lot of people may or may not go into nursing because they hear it's a good career money-wise, but in the end, if you're not there and you don't have the caring behaviors and you're not there to help people, you're not going to be successful. Making a difference, having patients say that you either, when I worked in the PICU, saved their child's life. Nowadays in my new job, able to relieve stress, plan appointments for them, specialty things, kind of help them through this very scary process of not only being pregnant, but being pregnant with a baby that has a fetal anomaly and trying to help them through that. That's the best part.
Okay, and what can someone being involved with nursing personally develop?
What can someone being involved in nursing can personally develop?
Yeah, like what can you develop from being a nurse? Like, is there anything, like any characteristics that you feel that you develop from being a nurse?
I think you have to have a lot of the characteristics already, but I think they grow. So again, having empathy, being able to go above and beyond. It's not just, you don't just go in and do tasks. You go in and you're caring for somebody's, again, child, mother, sister. Your communication skills definitely have to grow, because not only do you need to communicate to the patients and their families, but you also need to communicate to your medical team and everybody else. And then you also have to communicate what the medical team is actually saying to the patients, because sometimes that doesn't make sense. So you get to be sort of a translator in the fact of taking medical terms and putting them into what it means for everyday language. Also, what else would you develop? I think you develop more critical care thinking skills. So if your patient's starting to crash or you see a change, you pick up on those things a lot more, and then trusting your own assessment skills.
Okay, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years. Hopefully, I would say I think I would like to be in the same position that I'm in. Hopefully our fetal center grows and we can hire more people. Still being a nurse somewhere, doing something. I'm not quite to the age where I can retire yet, unfortunately. But, or in a different position. I don't know if there's something new that comes up and helping to grow another program, or just still in nursing, definitely still doing something like that.
Okay, what core values do you have that motivate you to do this type of work?
I've always been, I would say, like a helping, caring type of person. I think that you need to be trustworthy. Again, like, people are putting their family members' lives in your hands. Even if you are even if you're a nurse, like at a school, definitely, or at a plastic surgery office or an IVF office, whatever the patient is going through, you are definitely the person that they lean on. So you need to be able to be trustworthy, be able to work hard, want to go above and beyond, and just genuinely have caring behaviors that you can not just look at the person and they're a patient, but really see where they come from, what their story is, what they're going through, and who is their support system, and really be able to take their whole story and their whole life and have a positive outcome.
Okay, so what does a day-to-day look like for you?
So I work 5 days a week. I'm not a 3 12-hour shift. When I was at the bedside, I did 3 12-hour shifts, which have their perks and non-perks also. But now I'm 5 days a week. So I go in the morning. I work mostly in an office. Again, check the patient list, see what's going on, get any new referrals in, talk to patients, talk to doctors. We do weekly meetings where we talk about our entire caseload of everybody that we're following. A lot of my stuff is making sure that appointments are made, that the patient is coming in, if the patients have questions, giving them resources, and then helping them with, right now, not only their delivery planning, but if they're going to have a fetal intervention, helping to set that up. When I was at the bedside, I would say my day you'd come in start at 6:45, get your patient assignment, work all day at the bedside with 1 or 2 patients when I was in the PICU, and then.
So what kind of salaries can someone in this line of work expect?
So the good thing is that if you work in Sacramento for a nurse, you actually have one of the highest salaries in the entire country. It's driven by the Bay Area, so our salaries are increased from that, but also Sacramento costs not millions and millions of dollars to live in. So depending on how long you've been in the field, you can make somewhere in the 6 figures, depending on what you do. Working hourly, if you work a lot of overtime, you definitely can make a lot more. A lot of it, I would say, is a lot of work-life balance. So you don't really want to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. It's nice if you're going to go on a vacation or something, but it's very stressful and it's very taxing on your heart. So it's a good salary. Again, it varies a lot depending on if you're a new nurse starting off at the bedside or if you've been in it for a while and have advanced degrees and kind of move up in management or this and that.
Okay, and last question, are there any educational or employment opportunities that are given from where you work?
So there are, and for like high school students, they have a volunteer program. So through UC Davis, you can obviously volunteer. I think you guys have to do hours for stuff, but you can go into different areas. So they have volunteers in the ED, if that's a interested area. They have volunteers with Child Life. And so you get to come up into the pediatric units and hang out with both the patients that are there and also the siblings. They have volunteers kind of all over the hospital that's an opportunity. And then when you're in nursing school, and what I did was after a certain semester, they have an extern or an internship program where you obviously get paid a little bit, but you can go in and you follow a nurse and you get to start using those skills that you've learned in school, and then again try out different units and see if that's where you want to do. I think they're about a year now. And then a lot of some people that I know, while they're in nursing school, they've worked as like the unit support staff, and so they've been like the front desk person or the person stocking things or kind of a tech position. So again, it's getting you in the hospital, it's getting you around different areas, around the equipment, and seeing if really this is what you want to do, and if it is what you want to do, what area you want to go into.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Amey.
Yes, thank you.